What's going on? What's going on, film fam? Welcome to another episode of Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Not here with my main man Willie Jack tonight, man. It's my guys is going through a few technical difficulties as of right now, man. He may join us, he may not, but either way, I know how we do, man. We had y'all waiting long enough, so we gotta get this show started. All right, gotta get this show started, man. And today's show, we talking running backs, man. We went over receivers. We talked about quarterbacks. We talked about corners. We talked about safeties. We're going to try to hit each and every position group before we get into this preseason, y'all. So I want y'all to stay tuned because we definitely going to be chopping it up and going through some of these players. But today, we going with the running backs, man. A position full of electrifying players that change the game, in my opinion, but also a position that's very, very disrespected, man. You know, in terms of everything that's going on with these franchise tags and contracts and what they willing to pay running backs and what they not willing to play running backs. Hey, man, it's very disrespectful in my opinion. You know, so today we're going to talk a little bit about that. But, of course, I'm going to give y'all my top 10 running backs going into the 2023 season. And if y'all been following me, man, over the last few weeks, y'all know I'm coming with something spicy. You know, some names that you may not feel belong where they belong, but I got an explanation for everybody. And if anybody want to chat in, come in that chat and talk to me, of course, I'll talk back as always, man. But first, before we jump into any of that, we got to go through the house rules, man. The house rules, first and foremost, when you walk into that door, man, it's like, share, and subscribe, all right? Tap in with your boys. If you're in the group chat right now, go ahead and put your name. Let me know who you are, who your team is. If I already don't know, if you've been a member since day one, I probably already know who your team is. But tap in, man. Let me know who in here. Like, share, and subscribe, man. Become the newest member of the Film Fam. We'll appreciate all the support, you know, from each and every person. Like my dog Willie Jack would say if he was right here next to me, hey, talk to us, man. We talk back. You know, so that's just the name of the game. But also, one last thing, don't forget to hit that notification bell. How else are you going to find out when me and my dog Willie Jack, you know, got something coming up next? You know, what's in the works, what's coming up in the next couple weeks or so, or just what's the next topic for next week? Tune in, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I guarantee you we will not let you down. All right. So let's jump into the topic of the day, man. Let's talk about running backs. And before I jump into the actual ranking of the running backs, I want to talk about the situation that a lot of these running backs are in right now. Okay. I really want to jump into that because I think it's very important that not only we start to change the narrative. Somebody got to start it, but I want us to start changing the narrative on the outlook of running backs in today's game. Okay. The outlook is more so if they are not as important. You can find talent in all the rounds. You know, you can do this, you can do that. They're not worth 10, 15 million anymore, you know, because of situations like, you know, an Ezekiel Elliott. You know, I might even throw in a Christian McCaffrey because of the fact that, you know, he's been injured a lot after getting his contract. You know, the Saquon Barkleys, the the Le'Veon Bells, you know, those type of situations where running backs held out or they did whatever they need to do to get their money. And when they got the money, they didn't turn out to be worth the money after they were paid. They didn't produce to the amount that they were actually getting paid. And for me, on my opinion is, yeah, it's happened a few more times than we probably wanted to, or they probably wanted it to. And right now, that's primarily the reason why running backs have that outlook that they have. But I think running backs have a huge impact on the game. You know, even mentioning some of the other guys, you know, so the first thing I want to touch on is the talent, you know, and the talent in the different rounds. First and foremost, yeah, it's talent in later rounds because people are not drafting running backs that early. Okay. Over the last few years, you look at a guy like Breece Hall, you know, Javonte Williams, both drafted in the second round. But I think everybody can agree these are first round talent guys. You know, these were guys that if you just put together rankings of how good players was, you know, in those drafts, those were top 15 players, you know, top 10 players. Breece Hall was a top 10 player coming to the draft. Javonte Williams was in that mix. Najee Harris was a first-round talent guy. Now, he did go later in the first round, but he was a first-round talent. You know, same with Travis Etienne. Then you want to talk about DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, and J.K. Dobbins. All of those guys were top 15 guys coming into that draft for their year, but all went either late Actually, all went in the second round because the first guy that went in the first round was Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about finding talent later in those rounds, yeah, you finding talent later in those rounds for running backs because people are just not drafting them as high. And in my opinion, I feel like there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, it's nothing wrong with taking the shot on your Saquon Barkley, on your Bijan Robinson. You know, Bijan Robinson hasn't played a down, but if he's that talented, go get him where you feel like he's needed. If you need a position or a game changer like that, go get him. You know, Saquon Barkley was a 2,000 yards from scrimmage running back his rookie season. That's a different level of talent right there in itself. You know, there was only two other guys that had more yards from scrimmage than him in their rookie season, and that was Edgerrin James and Eric Dickerson, two Hall of Famers. Saquon Barkley has Hall of Fame talent. That's just it. Bijan Robinson has Hall of Fame talent. You know, and when they were on the field, they show it. Now, like I said, Bijan Robinson, he hasn't played it down in this league yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see a really good or really talented guy. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, these guys are not a lock. It's a lot of first round guys that go to top 15, top 20, top 25 that don't necessarily pan out, but that happens in every position. You know, so I don't want people to make it seem like running back is the only position where you find people late in the draft. Hell, where did Steve Smith get drafted? Tell me about that one. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys at a lot of other positions that you can throw out there. And that, where did Brock Purdy get drafted? The very last pick of the draft. You find talent all over this draft, man. And a lot of things kind of come into play when it comes to that. So for me, I just want to paint the picture and change the narrative on these running backs, man, because I don't think they're getting their justice, you know, and what they deserve when it comes to this position. So I'm definitely going to shed some light on this position today. And I'm going to talk about how a lot of these guys are actually game changers. You know what I'm saying? And this is what I truly believe. And I'm rooting for these guys to get paid, especially guys like, you know, the Dalvin Cooks too. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to jump into that, man. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And I guess that would bring me to my next point is the guys that are on these franchise tags. You know, Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley as the most notable names. Okay. Now, I talked a little bit about Saquon Barkley. I talked about his rookie year. I talked about what he's capable of and what his talent was. This is a Giants team that just came off of a season where he was clearly the number one guy on that offense. Okay. The guy that was a huge part in leading them to the promised land. But what they do is they go in the offseason and they go pay Daniel Jones $40 million a year, a guy who hasn't proved anything in this league. Even with last year, the guy had 300 plus passing yard games all of last year, and both came against the terrible defense of the Minnesota Vikings. Two times. You can go across this league and you won't find many other guys with the same stats that they had or that he had all year and go home and get paid $40 million a year. Hey, Willie Jack, I know you in here tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in. That's my dog. And I know you're a big person or a big supporter of market value. I understand it, but this ain't a $40 million a year guy, in my opinion. And these are the decisions that I have a problem with when it comes to, all right, you think I need to pay this guy $40 million? No, just because you did something silly and pay him $40 million, man, y'all crazy, man. I'm not going to pay the next guy an amount based off of him. You know what I mean? Now, when it starts to look like that was an outlier to me. Now, once it starts to legitly go up as far as market value, all right, we can talk then. But I think this move was more so an outlier than more so him being actually worth that or him, you know, falling into his term. The guy hasn't proven anything. Whereas Saquon Barkley, don't get me wrong, he had his injury history. But when healthy, he puts top numbers up in the league. You know, he's amongst the top 5, top 3 running backs in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Hands down. And he's proven it. He's shown it. The years that he's been able to play full seasons or close to full seasons, you see his production. It's right there in your face. And you see the difference that he makes in games. I can go back to the first game of the season where it came down to a 2-point conversion. They threw a shovel pass to Saquon Barkley. He makes 2 people miss and then bulls over a safety from the 1-yard line and gets in the end zone and wins you that game. It may be 1 or 2 other running backs. I don't know if any other running backs in the league make that play. He made that play. He got you that W. That's the difference between y'all getting to the playoffs and y'all barely missing it. You know what I mean? So when I watch games like this, man, don't tell me that running backs don't make that much of a difference. And don't tell me that you can go find any running back anywhere in the field to go make these type of plays. I ain't buying it. Then we go to Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs been a solid running back, okay? And we could talk a little bit about him about how he's not only a good player, good locker room guy, he does whatever it takes to win. You know what I'm saying? Always been there, been sticking with you through ups and downs throughout his time with the Las Vegas Raiders. Then he comes off a season where he leads the league in rushing, and there's an issue with you paying him. Man, y'all get out of here, man. Y'all get out of here, man. I ain't trying to hear that, man. This man showed y'all what he can do, what he's capable of. And when he's out there, again, another guy who's also showing you like, hey, man, I'm here, and this is what I can do. And I'm going to do it down in and down out. And I ain't going to complain about it either. And y'all can't figure out how to pay him. Today is July 5th, day after July 4th. Man, happy July 4th to everybody. You know what I'm saying? They got into July 17th to make this move. You know what I'm saying? They got into July 17th to get a deal done. Because if not, either my guys got to sign that franchise tag or they sitting out. And I'm not feeling too good about that. You know, that's going to take some excitement away from the game. Running back is one of the more exciting positions in the NFL in general. So when we talking about that, man, start thinking about that. League owners, the NFL, y'all know about y'all money, right? Y'all do whatever y'all can, you know, to keep these quarterbacks healthy. Y'all about y'all money. Hey, running backs are very exciting when it comes to this NFL, man. So I get it. Maybe 1 or 2 may not. Hey, man, but you're going to start changing the trajectory. And you know, as these little kids are coming up, they're going to say, nah, I ain't going. What I'm going to play running back for? Are you going to get beat up every single play and get paid the least? Nah, I'm good. I can go be a wide receiver, man. I can go play on the other side of the ball and be a linebacker and make more than that. You know what I mean? I can go rush the passer, you know. You're going to see a shift in things when it comes to how players are preparing themselves to come into the NFL, man. So, you know, that's my 2 cents, you know, shall I say, in regards to the running back position and the trajectory and the way that it's going. You know, if y'all got some ways, I got some things that y'all feeling, man, put them in the chat, man. I see we got Willie Jack, like he said, he tapped in. I got my dog B, man, from No Balls, No Glory, man. Shout out to No Balls, No Glories, man. He tapped in with us, man. I appreciate you. And then we got moms in the building too. Hey, how you doing? How you living? What's up, moms? Appreciate you for tuning in, checking in with us. So, dude, definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that, man. But let's go ahead and jump into the show, man. Let's jump into the show. As I said, we are talking about running backs today, you know, and I'm going to go through the rankings from 10 to 1, breaking down to you what I feel like it's going to look like going from, you know, going into this 23 season. You know, we're going to talk about some of these backs and, you know, break it down. And if y'all got some comments, some things y'all want to throw in there, let me know. All right, let me know. So I'm going to start it off, man, with my number 10 guy. And my number 10 guy going into the 2023 season is Baltimore Ravens J.K. Dobbins. All right, J.K. Dobbins, man. And I talked a little bit about his draft or who the guys that he came in with the draft in 2020. But he was a top 3 back coming out of the draft. And I don't say that lightly. Sometimes you can have one guy that's the main guy, and the other 2 behind him or next tier or whatever. No, these were all top tier guys, these top 3 guys coming into that 2020 draft. And I'm talking about Jonathan Taylor, we talking about DeAndre Swift, and we talking about J.K. Dobbins, okay? These were top tier guys, and J.K. Dobbins wasn't a slouch coming out of Ohio State. Now, he suffered an ACL injury before the season in 2021, so he didn't even get a chance to play in 2021. But we saw what he was fully capable of those last 8 games of the season last season. Okay. Now, we saw what a prospect looked like or what a top prospect he could be. In 8 games, He rushed the ball 92 times, over 500 yards, averaged over 5.5 yards per carry. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, he played more than half of those games without Lamar Jackson. He was playing those games with T. Huntley. Okay, so to think that when Lamar Jackson comes back, he's gonna open up a lot more holes for him, especially during their read option. You know, you got to know what's coming when it comes to that. You know, now he'll be 2 full years removed from that ACL injury. He'll have a full regular off season, you know, under his belt. So I expect him to step into the light a little bit, man. I expect him to step into the to the big show, you know, and make his name known as, all right, man, I could be one of those guys mentioned with the Josh Jacobs and, you know, that tier of players. So that's what I expect of them. And like I said, with Lamar Jackson back and they do a lot of their read option, I fully expect him to have a lot of room to run when it comes to the plays or the chances that they'll give him going into the season. He's going to get that full load. Hey, they brought all those fancy weapons over there, and Odell Beckham. They drafted Zay Flowers. Still got Mark Andrews. Hey, man, if y'all know the Ravens, they want to run the ball. They trying to run the ball. That's what they're looking to do. And sure enough, it's going to be behind Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins. So expect J.K. Dobbins to step into the season, man, and turn into one of those guys in the league that we really start to respect and understand what he's fully capable of. All right? So that J.K. Dobbins, that's my number 10 guy. Busting into my number 9, a guy we just talked about, Josh Jacobs, man. Josh Jacobs. Now, as I said before, he's the type of running back that any coach wouldn't mind having on a team, okay? First of all, before we get into some of the other intangibles, he's a good running back, okay? Led the league in rushing last year, as I already mentioned, has great vision, okay? He has elite quickness between the tackles. I don't know if there's another running back, and you guys, I don't know if you've seen some of his highlights or seen some of his plays or watched him run, but I haven't seen anybody that can go from front side A back to backside C back to the front side B or A gap as quick as Josh Jacobs, okay? I'm talking about the guy can maneuver and kind of create holes before actually hitting one and turn into big games, you know, and that was one of the things that he did. I forgot who they played against, but it was that overtime game where he pretty much put the team on his back. You know, they rolled his back, and he said, hey, man, I got y'all. We got this dub. Don't even worry about it. Devontae Adams, I know you that dude. Chill out. I got this one. This overtime is mine, you know. And he let us know that even with more talent on this team around me on the offensive side, hey, you still can give me the ball. You still can count on me, and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to lead this team in rushing. And maybe Devontae Adams had a big an impact on that because maybe he took a safety out of the box. You know, and maybe it was like, all right, we got to put a little extra attention on Devontae Adams. We can't put all these people inside the box, which opened up more room for Josh Jacobs. You know, so I can definitely see that. But yeah, Josh Jacobs is my number 9 guy. I can see him bouncing, having another good season. And some of the other things about him too, runs with great power or speed. You know, great locker room guy, and I think he'll do whatever you ask him for if you're looking to win. I think he'll go out there and play special teams if you asked him. He's that type of guy on the football field, and that's why I think any coach would love him, and any other coach would love to have him on his team. Now, if they can just get this contract thing figured out, I think they'll be looking into they'll be looking at having another good back and another good season from him as well. All right. Woods, my dog Woods in the building. What's up with you, big dog? I appreciate you tapping in, man. Appreciate you tuning in with your boy, man. I want to hear y'all comments though, man. I want to hear y'all talk, man. You know what I'm saying? J.K. Dobbins, he came in as my number 10 guy going into the 2023 season. And then I got Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is my number 9 guy. All right. But we're going to keep on pushing. At number 8, I'm going Dalvin Cook, man. I'm going Dalvin Cook. Now, this one was a little weird for me, and I'm going to tell you why. It was weird for me because not often do you put a guy on your top 10 list who doesn't even have a team, who's not even on a roster. And as of right now, that's the situation with Dalvin Cook. And quite frankly, I don't know what's taking so long for teams to say, oh, man, we need a guy like you. Come on home. And me and Willie Jack actually talked a little bit about this Dalvin Cook situation, you know, when he first got released, because, of course, that's big news. He's open. He's free. He can go wherever he wants, you know. And we were talking about ways that teams could possibly use him to get the best out of him, and maybe get the best out of the team. And I think me and Willie Jack, the more we talked about it, we really like the idea of having him play a little bit more of not a full Alvin Kamara role when they had him and Mark Ingram, but more so of a role where he can get a few more carries. Dalvin Cook still got a lot left in the tank. The only question mark with him was all the knickknacks, all the injuries. So even with him playing a lot still, and when you look overall in the seasons, playing 13, 14 games, he's only missing just a couple each year. It just seems like he's nicked up a lot, and he still has solid production overall when it comes to his ability. We already know he has great top speed. He can hit the home run at any given moment. One of the running backs with some of the best vision in the NFL. Like, he has everything that you need, man. Like, he can be an every down back. It's just you worry about him getting nicked up, and he's been dealing with this shoulder injury for quite some time now. So now the thing is, okay, how can we switch up his usage? And I think that with a guy like Sean Payton can utilize him in a way where, all right, we're going to still get you the ball a lot. You're going to still touch it maybe 200 times. But we're going to make sure every time you touch it, it's in space. We don't have to bang you up the A gap anymore. We're not going to continuously do that, because the more we continue to do that, the more you continue to show that, you might get nicked up a little bit. But now let's get you on the outside. Let's run more stretches, more toss. Let's get you some more screens. Let's be a little bit more deceptive in the way that we give you the ball, because once he gets in space, we already know what he's fully capable of in space. So I think he could operate best moving forward is if he has a big role, but not that full load, not the 300, 350 touches, maybe just 200. And maybe we just keep him in space instead of, getting all those bodies around him, falling on you, man. Hey, it's a lot. It's a lot of 300-pound, 250, 260-pound guys falling on you every single play, man. It takes a toll on anybody. That's why the running back's lifespan in the NFL are so much shorter than any others, because of the pounding that they take each and every week, each and every year in the NFL, man. So, hey, let's lighten up Dalvin Cook's load and watch that boy go to work. Watch him go to work. I think that Dalvin Cook is still one of the best backs in the NFL, which is why I got him in my number 8 spot. All right, got him in my number 8 spot. All right. We said Woods in the building. All right, I got you. Well, let's keep on pushing, y'all. Keep on pushing. We're gonna push it on through, man. Strong hour. I think I told you that earlier. Be my number 7 back. I'm gonna go over to Pittsburgh, man. This may be something that a lot of people may not think. A lot of people may have Dalvin Cook a little higher, but I'm going Najee Harris, man. Najee Harris, I think this is the year for him. Okay, and the reason why I say that is, one, we already know the positives about Najee Harris. Mike Tomlin pretty much made him team captain his rookie year, because he knew what type of player he was. He knew what type of attitude he had. He knew what his character was. He knew he was going to do all the right things. And he's also under the wings of a guy like Cameron Hayward. Not for the position, but more so the how to lead a team type of deal. And he comes out of that Nick Saban, born of players that, are studs. And he came out, as one of the top guys or top running backs in this league. Okay. He runs very hard, great work ethic. He's not as explosive, but still athletic. He's not going to, burn you for 80 yards, but he'll jump clean over you. You know what I mean? So you still got to pick your poison with a guy like him. He can do a lot of different things on the field, and he's also good at catching out of the backfield. Okay. But I think this is also the year he becomes a staple of this offense, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay, with the Steelers right now, they're really going to be focusing on the development of Pickett. Okay, and with other teams going to now start focusing on what could be the next great number 1 receiver in George Pickens. I think it's going to open up a few things for a guy like Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris kind of fell off the radar a little bit, and I think most people think of him as, he cool. You know what I'm saying? He's solid. He can do his thing, but not necessarily a game changer, which for a player like Najee Harris, that's all you need for motivation. Oh, you don't think I can do this? You don't think I can do that? Watch me go to work. You know what I'm saying? So, and then not to mention the few changes that the Steelers have made going into this season. Okay, they bring in two new offensive guards and 2 new offensive tackles. Okay, and then one of those tackles being the young, talented Broderick Jones, they drafted in the first round out of Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So they made some additions to this offensive line in a way where it could possibly open things up for Najee Harris to where he can see a little bit more of an open. And I told people, and I'm here for the comments. Y'all in here, I want to hear what y'all think. But I made the comparison for Najee Harris. I made the comparison of Derrick Henry. Okay. And the reason why I did that is not because of the size, not because I think that he's the next King Henry, but more so of he needs a yard or 2 before he gets that first touch to really get his momentum going. Okay. If you notice, if you get Derrick Henry going east and west in the backfield, you've won. But if you get him going north and south, if he gets a yard, if he's already got his minimum going up and he got a yard up, like that offensive line gets a good push, oh, that's an easy 4-5 a pop. You can forget about that because on contact, he's driving you an extra 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think the difference is going to be for Najee Harris going into this season versus previous seasons. And of course, they're still going to make him a huge part of that passing attack too. Okay. Oh, and the offense is going to open up. Last year, it was Kenny Pickett in his rookie year. That offense is definitely going to open up this year. You're going to see a lot more creativity. You're going to see a lot more passing downfield. And you're going to see, Kenny Pickett have a little bit more control of this offense. And Kenny Pickett was smart, too. That was one of the positives on him coming out of Pittsburgh. The guy was a smart quarterback, okay? So that's all those reasons are the reason why I got Najee Harris in my number 7 spot. I expect a pretty big year, maybe a career year for Najee Harris thus far, all right? Now, before we go into the break, I got one more for you, man. And this is where we get into the projections, okay? Now, I always say this. I meant to say this before I started, but I always talk about these players, and I say, hey, it's about going into the 2023 season. It has a little bit to do with the past, but more so about projections, okay? More so about projections. So this one is definitely a projection, okay? But I got good reason for this one. I got great reason for this one, okay? Going into the 2023 season, my number 6 back is going to be Bijan Robinson, man. Bijan Robinson is my number 6 back going into the 2023 season. And for the first time, and let the film speak history, I don't know if Willie Jack was going to do it. Willie Jack, that means you got to come with your list, dog. I need your list. Put it in the chat or something. You need to do something. But going into the 2023 season, I got Bijan Robinson as my number 6 back, okay? And here's why. Last year, rookie Sauce Gardner. Now, this is not about the running back position. This is about rookies in general. Last year, rookie Sauce Gardner emerged into the NFL and was quickly known by most people as the best cornerback in the NFL, okay? In 2021, rookie Jamar Chase emerged as a top 5 receiver in the league after his first year. That same year, Justin Herbert broke numerous records, okay? Finished as an offensive rookie of the year and was an immediate top 10 QB in the NFL. Must I mention Justin Jefferson's first year, okay? That was 1,400 yards. I believe like 8 touchdowns. So I bring all of that. I bring all of that up because I want to say that every year there's a rookie that comes in and it's top 10 immediately. And I'm predicting Bijan Robinson is that for this year. Bijan Robinson is going to come into this league and he's going to be a top 10 back immediately, okay? First and foremost, he's already getting comparisons to LT, okay? And I ain't talking about LT Lawrence Taylor. I'm talking about LT LaDainian Tomlinson, all right? Now, for those who don't know, I feel like LaDainian Thompson is the best back that ever played this game, okay? And need I say why? From rushing to receiving, he did it all. And he got in that paint. If he ain't do nothing else, he got in that paint. Now, that's my favorite. Argue with whoever you want to argue with. I ain't arguing with you. But LT is one of my favorites, man. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, he's the best to ever do it. You know what I'm saying? But Bijan Robinson is already getting those type of comparisons. Yes, He runs. He has all the intangibles. He can run with power. He can run with speed. You know, he can get. He's very effective in the passing game. And I ain't talking about little screens or little smoke routes or Texas routes. The boy can get up the sideline. You know, down the field. He can catch the ball. So he already brings that dynamic dynamic playmaking ability to his game into the NFL. But then he's also coming into the league in a good situation. Okay. He has a top 10 offensive line, you know, that he's going to be running behind, which they led Tyler Algier, a rookie running back last year, ran for over 1,000 yards and almost 5 yards a carry. So you mean to tell me you're going to put Bijan Robinson behind that and he's not going to do something similar or better? My money is banking on he's going to be a hell of a lot better this year. Now, don't get me wrong. They're probably still going to use Tyler a little bit, but Bijan Robinson is going to be that guy. And he's definitely going to have everything he needs right in front of him. As a running back, once you get the ball, all you got to do is run. Do what you do best, man. It's simple. You know, run. Use the athletic ability. Find those holes. Do what you do best. There's not much thinking to that game. Now, you got another playbook, but when you get the ball in your hands, it's playing. You're not thinking, you playing. All right? Then you throw in the fact that they have Desmond Ridder as going to be there coming into this year as their starting quarterback, in which, if you ask me to put my money on it, I don't think they have much faith in Desmond Ridder. So if they're going to do anything, they definitely going to lean on that run game. Okay. So those are all the reasons why I got Bijan Robinson as my number 6 guy going into this 2023 season, man. And I guarantee you, man, if he gets the opportunity, he's going to show you he's that dude for sure. He's that dude for sure. All right, man. Before we go into a little bit of break, man, we had some people come in here, man. And they had some comments, and we're gonna go through them. First person that came in, let us know something. We had my dog B from No Boss, No Glory, man. He went on ahead and made us a top 10, man. And he got Bijan Robinson at his 10, Travis Etienne, that's an interesting name there, at number 9, Jonathan Taylor coming in at number 8, Kenneth Walker at 7, Josh Jacobs 6, Saquon at 5, Derrick Henry at 4, Nick Chubb 3, Austin Eckler 2, and C-Mac at number 1. Hey, B, I know you in the fantasy, man. You in the fantasy. You love your fantasy, man. So I get you. You know, you got your fantasy back. Some very interesting names. And this is the reason why I'm gonna tell you how this, man. This is the reason why I feel like running back is the most talented position in the NFL. Okay. So first and foremost, I'm gonna go like this. Austin Eckler is his number 2, which, okay, do your thing. I feel you. But in my opinion, man, Austin Eckler is not as good as some of those guys that I'm gonna have up there. But the crazy part is Austin Eckler finished the season last year with 18 touchdowns. That's how talented the running back position is in NFL. And you mean to tell me a guy that scored 18 touchdowns for your team ain't worth some money? Man, go find another running back that's gonna get you 18 touchdowns for that team. Find one. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. I like Nick Chubb. I like Derrick Henry, Saquon. Kenneth Walker is another guy that was in the mix, man, but didn't quite make it. I really do like what Kenneth Walker is. Another first-round talent guy that went in the second round. You know what I mean? That's what they do with running backs, man. It's like, all right, we can find one, or I ain't worried about him. And you end up getting him late in the rounds, but he's still a first-round talent. You know what I'm saying? Travis Etienne, another guy out there, very talented. Didn't quite make my list, though, but hey, I like your list, B. I appreciate it. Then we have my dog, Willie Jack, man. He came in hot. He gave me his 10 through 6. That's what I'm talking about, Willie Jack. Hey, you got to post yours too, Willie Jack. He had Josh Jacobs out there. We're in the same area. And he got his dog. I'm going to say it for you. You ain't heard Willie Jack, but I'm going to say it for you. Free TP. Free TP. Hey, well, you ain't got to yell it no more, Willie. I ain't got to hear that no more, man. TP is free. TP has been freed. He's out. You know what I'm saying? Out on bond. They paid the boy. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, we got you. We got you, bro. We've been putting money on his books for so long, but he good now. He out. He's straight. TP has been freed. He is the lead guy in Dallas, man. He's my dog's number 9 guy. Then he got Saquon. Oh, man, he tripped. I think he's smoking a little bit. Saquon ain't top 5. Willie Jack, I'm glad you ain't on this show, man, because that segment would have took us a little while, dog. That's all I'm gonna say. That segment right there, when you would have came with him at 8, it would have took us a little while. That's all I'm gonna say about that, Willie Jack. Then he came back. He had Dalvin Cook at 7, Bijan Robinson at 6. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, I got you there. I feel that, Willie Jack. You got to come with 5 through 1 on the back half. And then I got my dog. He say, no vultures the podcast, man. My dog Brother Red. Shout out No Vultures the podcast, man. Go check them boys out over there. You know what I mean? They doing all the topics, man. They do boxing, basketball, football, baseball. You know, they do all the stuff, man. You know what I mean? They get into hip hop, get into a few of the artists. Go check No Vultures the podcast out, man. They got everything that you want to hear, man, when it comes to our culture, man. And hey, I'm telling you, if he don't do nothing else, that boy do the knowledge. You know what I mean? That's what you need to know about No Vultures the podcast. And also shout out to No Balls, No Glory. We do football over here. Those guys do it all too. They do football, boxing, baseball, hockey. You know what I'm saying? They do all the sports too. You know what I mean? So go check those out, man. Those are guys. Those the fam. They tune in with us, man. We tune in back with them. You know, we appreciate all y'all love. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and tapping in with your boy. You know what I'm saying? And as of right now, I'm going to go on a little bit of a quick break. And even though my dog Willie Jack, he ain't on with me, he's still here in spirit, man. So, hey, I'm going to take a quick break. And then I'm going to come back to you with my top 5, big dog.
Episode of Let the Film Speak, hosted by the wonderfully handsome and intelligent brothers of Let the Film Speak. That's Chop and your main man, Willie Jack. You feel me? Also brought to you by the 3 amigos. Y'all know them and you love them, man. That's the 3 amigos. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe. That's 3 the hard way. That's the 3-piece spicy. You cannot go wrong. Now, I say the same thing every week, so y'all can say it at home with me. I know y'all ready for it. Here we go. It's 3 amigos, but it's 4 parts to this process, big dog. First, you just got to tap in. Like my dog said, man, come in, tap in. Just say what's up, man. Just holler. Hey, what's up, 3 amigos, man? Like, share, subscribe. Hey, Chop, man, Willie, man, what's going on, man? It's cool. I sit on the couch. For sure. Y'all got something cold to drink? Oh, man, my man. Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, man, I'm a Broncos fan. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's easy. And Chop, come in, sit down, get comfortable, get a cool adult beverage, and let us know who you ride with, big dog. Then tell a friend. Like, man, that's a nice feeling here, ain't it? Man, it's cool, man. My homeboy was out. He was down. Man, it's cool. I can tell a friend. Tell a friend, man. And you know what? Even better than that, you can tell your friend to tell a friend. Guess what? There's more. You can tell your friend to bring his partner to. Bring one more because we need 4, man. Bring them up into the penthouse. Tapping with your dogs, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You know we don't wear no watches. We ain't got nowhere else to be but in here kicking football flavor with the fam. And now back to the regularly scheduled program.
Man. And ladies and gentlemen, look who we have here. Tuned in with me to the second half of the show, man. Well, hey, I don't care if you wasn't here for the 10 through 6, man. You here for the top 5. Willie Jack, how you living today, my dog?
Man, dog, when I tell you it's been an afternoon, man. Hey, man, but I made it, man. I did everything I can to get here as soon as I could, man. So I was peeping in when I could, man. I see you out there holding it down, man. So, man, good to be here, man. And glad I caught at least a little bit of the show for sure.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you were in here, Willie Jack. And before we jump into this top 5, I want you to run down really quick, man. Yo, 10 through 6 real quick, man. Give everybody a recap of who your 10 through 6 was, and then we're going to jump into the 5 through 1, big dog.
No, for sure. So number 10, I had Josh Jacobs. I think I heard some of the stuff you said about him as well. And so for all his production, I don't know, man. I almost felt like I might have been a little too low on him, but then you had him at 9, so I don't feel as bad about it no more. But yeah, Josh Jacobs, man, very solid guy, led the league in rushing just this past year. Number 9 is where I got my dog TP, man, Tony Pollard. I actually had TP switch with Saquon, but he's coming off the injury. It is. I'm giving Saquon the benefit of the doubt, since TP coming off that injury. 8, I got your dog Saquon, assuming he finally signs and shows back up to camp and to the team. 7, my dog Dalvin Cook, man. Whenever he finds a team, man, he's gonna hit the ground running. I don't have any doubts about that. And then number 6, man, I also had the young gun, man, Bijan Robinson. But yeah, just like you said, everything you said was exactly what I was thinking as well. Tyler Algier went out there, got buku yards, and he doesn't have near the skill, talent, or athleticism as a Bijan Robinson. And so I expect Bijan to slide right in and upgrade everything we saw from Tyler Algier just last year. So I'm looking for Bijan. Bijan's going to be a guy. He probably, honestly, he could have been in the top 5, and I almost had him there. But I was like, you know what? let me at least let him get on the field a little bit, man. So I got him at 6. I expect him to touch 1,400 yards and probably 12 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns or so in this rookie season, man. So definitely a huge year for Bijan coming up.
Gotcha. All right, well, Jack, this is how we're gonna do it, man. I'm gonna give you my 5. Do you come back with your 5-4 real quick? All right.
For sure.
Give you my 5. You come back with the 5-4 because that's the way I got it listed on here. So here we go. My number 5 running back going into the 2023 season is Tennessee Titans own Derrick Henry, man. Okay. Derrick Henry sitting in my number 5 spot. Okay. Now, from the outside looking in, okay, let me break this down to y'all. It seems like we as fans have gotten a little spoiled from Derrick Henry. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's what it seems like for me. It seems like we get a little bit spoiled from him. Okay, he led the league in rushing, in back-to-back seasons in 2019 and 2020. In which that second season was that 2,000-yard season. Where King Henry was born. Okay, this is King Henry. All right. That next season he got hurt, but it was also that season when you talked about it, Willie Jack. Hey, he only played 10 games. But through those 10 games, I think he led the league in rushing for like the next 2-3 weeks after that because nobody was catching him.
I think it was the next 4-5 weeks. It felt like it was something crazy
like that.
Yeah,
something crazy like that. The guy was still leading the league in rushing. 4-5 weeks after he had been injured and was out for the rest of the season. Then he came back last year, right? And the crazy part is most people say that was a down year for Derrick Henry. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of that had to do, when I look back on it, was the lack of success of the Titans. The guy had 1,500 yards and 13 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like I don't think people understand. The first year he led the league in rushing he only had 1,500 some yards. The league guy this year in rushing had 1,600, right?
1,663, I think, Josh Jacobs. Yeah.
Something like that. The guy had 1,500 yards and 13 rushing touchdowns, and it was his down year. It wasn't such a good year for Derrick Henry. Yeah. If anybody can say that about me, man, that lets me know I'm that real deal. If you tell me I had a down year of 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns, man, you must be out your mind. You know what I'm saying? Now, Don't get me wrong. Maybe the fumbles had something to do with it. He did have his career high in fumbles. I think he had 6 fumbles this past year. But you got to know a guy like him, as much as he's in a weight room and as much as he's working, he's definitely working on that fumbling. You know what I'm saying? The last time he did that was, 2019. He had 5 fumbles, and he came back the next season and only had 1. You know what I'm saying? So I expect a little bit more of that for Derrick Henry going into this year, and I expect him to still be King Henry. Nothing's changed. He's still going to get it. I think he's still going to be a 1,500-yard back and over 10 touchdowns. They're going to feed him. They're going to ride him till the wheels fall off. They don't have much else to lean on. So, hey, this is what we're going to do. But here's the other thing. I'm going to throw a little kicker in there, Willie Jack.
All right.
Don't be surprised if before the trade deadline, Derrick Henry finds himself running for a contender. If it's one thing we know about the running backs in the NFL, man, they fall like flies once they start hitting, once they get into them games, once they get into that action. So you never know what'll happen. You never know what team will be in need. And Derrick Henry is a possible option. Now they also got some free agents out there too. One in which we both kind of had on our list, and Dalvin Cook. So a lot of people are gonna be looking at him, but don't be surprised if Derrick Henry finds himself on that trade list, man, going somewhere where he can go run the ball and potentially compete for a chance to get into the Super Bowl, man. So Derrick Henry, my number 5 guy, he's still King Henry, man, top 5 back in this league. We just got some other guys that are up here with him as well.
No, I got you. And King Henry coming up on my list as well, man. So I'll go ahead and get into my number 5. My number 5, man, this is where I got my dog Najee Harris, man. This is where I got Najee, man. I think last year I also wanted him in that top 5, but I think I was a year too early, man. But this I think is the year, man. We finally put a couple pieces in front of him in the offensive line. And so he's a guy, man, I think this is it. I love the addition at guard, man. Isaac Seumalo from Philadelphia, from the Eagles on that championship run, was one of the better guard, probably a top 5 guard in the league, I think, this last year. And so he's coming in to help solidify that inside. We drafted a young guy, Broderick Jones. Now, I don't even know if he's going to start right out the gate or not. But all told, the second half of that season, the offensive line that we had already started to kind of come into – it started to gel a little better and kind of come into place. And we did we went, I think, 7-2 after our bye week and finished above 500. And a lot of that was the play of the offensive line coming together. And so now we bring in a Pro Bowl caliber guy to help really solidify that unit. We've got a young guy in the wings. And if you've seen anything about Broderick Jones or you've known anything, if the boy can't do nothing else, he can grab somebody and put somebody on their back. And so
That's it.
if you can't do nothing else, so assuming depending on how fast he acclimates or he's ready to go, we'll see when he gets on the field. But I really do expect a big year from Najee this year, where it's no secret. The additions, everything you've heard from my team, the Steelers, this whole offseason, we're making a commitment to getting back to being a physical, in-your-face, running down your throat offensive team, and then still, like I said, let Kenny ease his way into being the field general that he looks like he may be. So number 5 is where I got my dog Najee. And then, man, you might have to help me, man. I don't know if he made your list or if he already made your list, but that's where I got my dog.
Yeah, so I had Najee Harris later. I think I had Najee Harris in my number 7 spot. So not too far from you, Willie Jack. The only problem I got is he's above Saquon, but we'll get into that in a minute. This the one thing, the other move that I thought about, Willie Jack, that y'all made. I think that's going to be huge for y'all running game too. The addition of Darnell Washington. Okay, that is another tackle that's listed as a tight end that's going to be added to that mix. I can see a lot of double tight end sets, in y'all near future. And
for sure.
That's gonna add a lot more things that this Steelers offense can do when it comes to the running game. And Najee Harris, that was another addition that they had besides the offensive lineman that y'all added. That's going to be huge for Najee Harris too.
No, and that's a good point. And honestly, man, with Saquon, for one, he still hasn't signed. And I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's been some news on his signing, but I don't know if Saquon is necessarily going, I don't know if this could carry over into the season, depending on how that plays out. And then also as well, honestly, I think my Steelers are going to have a pretty good year. I think we're going to have a way better than average year. And I think Najee is going to be the centerpiece of what we do. And honestly, I think my Steelers are going to have a better year than the Giants. And kind of like we were talking.
I do too. I believe that too.
You know what I'm saying? And so with better team success, generally a lot of times comes better, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
I know their players are more recognizable. You know what I'm saying?
There we go. Like more recognition for success. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so maybe that way. So I think we're going to be a team that few are really counting on us to do much. And I think we give Cincinnati a run at that division title. And I think if that's the year that we have where we're in the mix to even win that division, it's going to be a lot of that's going to be on the back of Najee Harris. And so I think this could be a year that he really catapults himself into that conversation as a guy that can carry the offense around him. I think that's the way he'll be used for us. And then we've already seen Saquon when the going gets tough, man. Y'all take the ball out of Saquon's hands anyway. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, we yet to be seen.
By mistake. That's not because of the lack of talent or he can't do it. That's because of Brian Daboll started tripping. That's what that was.
You
thought Daniel Jones was worth $40 million. That's what.
Man, yeah, that one's still mind blowing, man. Hey, that one's still mind blowing. But I'll go ahead and get to my number 4. And my number 4, man, this is where I got King Henry. And so everything you said applies, man. It feels like a down year. Meanwhile, the boy ran for 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely had. I know it was a lot of fumbles, but I didn't realize it was 6. That's a lot of fumbles, bro. Yeah, 6 is a lot of fumbles, okay. And I want to say
a couple of them.
Two losses maybe came on the strength of those fumbles
absolutely.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? And so, but all told, man, King Henry solidified himself as just a dominant back, and so. The offensive line has even more new faces. And so I thought that offensive line last year was going to take a step back. And then even this year, now they're coming forward. They replaced the left tackle with, is it Andre Dillard, the left tackle, reserve left tackle from the Eagles. But the thing about Andre Dillard was he was a pass protected tackle coming into the league from it was somewhere in the Northwest. But he was a pass pro specialist. He was in one of those offenses that threw the ball 500 times, literally. You know what I'm saying? And then they would have the lead back maybe had 80 rushing attempts on the season. It was an extremely pass-happy offense that he came from. And so he came over when he was drafted in the league. It was that's the style of tackle he was. Well, I don't know how good that is for King Henry on a team that wants to run the ball 50 times a game as opposed to pass the ball.
That's it.
And so I do think that offensive line. Now they do draft what's the old boy from Northwestern's name, man? Peter Skoronsky. They draft Peter Skoronsky.
Yeah,
I think they got him slated to slide in at guard. But honestly, if you guys were remembering what I was saying in the pre-draft notes, I wasn't too confident at Peter Skoronsky moving inside the guard because I don't think he has just the raw power. I don't think he has the power in his play that it takes to move a guy. You know what I'm saying? You're 6 inches from a guy and move this guy, dig this guy out of a hole and drive him back 3 yards. And these are the guys that are 320, 330 pounds on the other team. And he wasn't a power-based player that way. And so I still don't know how that shapes out as well. But all told, man, I can't bet against King Henry, man. I can't not at this point.
No more. Not that first time.
Not no more. I bet against him last year a little bit. It looked like I was on to something because he started a little slow and then the boy took off and then 1,500 yards later he back like nothing changed. You feel me? So, but yeah, King Henry, man, still a guy at or near the top of this position. And man, I'm very curious to see just how that team season unfolds just as a whole. Now, one thing I will say, I don't know about his trade viability because he's still an older back. He's probably what 28, 20. He's approaching 30 now. And so I don't know how attractive he is as trade bait at this time. And especially kind of like you said, where there's a pretty good market at running back right now, just even in the free agent side. With Dalvin Cook, you still got a guy like Kareem Hunt out there who his name is cooled off substantially, but he's still a guy that's got plenty of tread left on the tire because he spent the last 3 years being the combo back with Nick Chubb. So he's still got plenty of juice left in his legs, honestly, assuming, if he gets that chance, I would think so. And so I think there's still a couple options there. But yeah, all told, man, I still expect King Henry to go out there and get it done, man. I expect him to still sniff some. I still expect him to be a top 5 rusher as far as yardage goes at the end of the season. And for better or for worse, I don't know what that'll do for the Titans, but I think he's going to produce.
Gotcha. And before I jump into my list, man, my dog brother Red, he came through hard, man. He coming through heavy. He said he got his list right here, man.
Okay.
And he got his all the way down to 3. I'm gonna see who his 2 and 1 is. But we're gonna see who he got. He got Joe Mixon at number 10. He got Najee Harris at number 9. Jonathan Taylor at 8. Austin Eckler at 7. 6. He got 8. Who was that? Who was that?
Is that Aaron Jones? Maybe. Oh no, maybe that's a typo. And I think maybe 6 is going to be Aaron Jones, and then 5 Saquon Barkley, 4 Josh Jacobs,
and 3 Derrick
Henry. I mean, 6 that starts with an A. He's already got Eckler listed. I can't think of another running back whose name starts with A, and so maybe that was meant to be Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
He said it's a typo.
So, but who is supposed to be, brother Red? Yeah, fix it in the chat, man. Let us know who he's supposed to be. But I ain't mad at it. He said still tight. I ain't mad at it right now, brother Red, man. I ain't mad at your list, man. You got a lot of names on this list, man, who are guys that have proven themselves. Of course, also I wouldn't put Austin Eckler on my list of top 10. And then Joe Mixon missed my list as well.
No,
Go ahead, Willie Jack.
No. Oh, my fault, man. My fault. I was gonna say my only real beef on the list would be Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon is this, especially this past year. He was losing key and important snaps and downs to Samaje Perine, and I don't even necessarily know if it's fault of his own or with just the explosion of that pass game with Joe Burrow chasing all those toys on the outside that he just doesn't appear to be a focal part in that offense anymore. And then couple that with it does look like his play took a step back. Samaje Perine, he was almost the pseudo lead back, it felt like. I mean, if he turned it to the third down back and he was the short yardage back. And then if in key situations, starting with that Super Bowl, Samaje Perine's in for Joe Mixon. And so that's probably my only beef on that. I'm not mad at anybody that puts Eckler on their list because you can't argue with that production. I think the guy's been a leader in touchdowns at the position, or one of the leaders. He's been like top 2 or 3 in touchdown production for like the last 3 seasons in a row. And he does offer versatility. He's an exceptional receiving back. 7's a little rich for me. If you fit Austin Eckler in at 10, 9, 10, but 7 feels a little rich. But at the same time, man, given that production, I can't argue with a guy that damn near threatens 20 touchdowns a year. I ain't gonna go too hard on it.
Gotcha. I guess for me, I guess it was the way he got those touchdowns. Not that they were just all given to him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't there. It was just different about it, man. It was just something it ain't.
I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not big on Austin Eckler, man. I don't know what Austin Eckler
nah,
did to you, man.
nah, he didn't do nothing specific to me. You know what I'm saying? He's a great fantasy running back. I want him on my fantasy team each and every year. You know, but as my running back, you know, it's something about those other guys, man. You know,
Yeah,
the other
no,
guys.
I agree with you there. He's not necessarily my cup of tea. He's not in my 10 either. But I mean, if you got him somewhere closest to the bottom of your 10, given his production, I could see the argument that folks would make.
I
But
got
yeah,
you.
but I'm with you as
Absolutely.
well. I don't keep him in my 10 either.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let me go ahead and jump into my number 4, Willie Jack. My number 4 is Jonathan Taylor, man. Jonathan Taylor,
Okay.
my number 4 running back going into the 2023 season. All right, let's not forget what JT brings to the table as an NFL running back, y'all. Okay, you know what I'm saying. And I know a lot of times we become prisoners of what just happened last. What have you done for me lately? But this guy's still only 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Going into this, he probably is only going to be 24 this season. You know what I'm saying? Rock solid build, 226 pounds, runs a 4.3. You know what I'm saying? And the run I think about the most is the Patriots run. I don't know if y'all saw that long touchdown run he broke on the Patriots where he don't know if he's going to score or not. You know what I'm saying? He's looking back at his sideline trying to see if his coach is going to tell him, hey, to go ahead and fall down so we can run this clock out, or do I need to go ahead and score? And he ended up scoring, looking back at somebody chasing him 60, 70 yards down the field because they can't catch him. He too fast. So it's like, I got time. Don't worry about him. What y'all want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Y'all see me running. Y'all want me to stop or y'all want me to keep going? That's the type of running back, a type of talent that Jonathan Taylor has. You know what I mean? And then don't forget the year before this past one, this guy was 1,800 yards and 18 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Now you go into the season where his quarterback is going to be the Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson.
Anthony
You
Richardson.
gotta know they about to lean on Jonathan Taylor again. You know what I mean? This guy, this is the first time he had under 1,000 yards since high school. So being injured is not necessarily in his DNA. You know what I'm saying? He's not an injury prone type guy. Not to say that he's just injury proof, but if we're going into the season, expect him to be fully healthy. Expect Jonathan Taylor to be another 1,500 yard guy again, over 10 touchdowns. Same what I would say with Derrick Henry, but just a little bit more explosion on him. You know what I mean? And they're gonna be leaning on him a lot over with the Colts, who still has a very solid offensive line over there. So with the skill set of Jonathan Taylor, even though they had the year that he had last year, I expect him to bounce back this year again. You know what I mean? Willie Jack said 2K. JT2K.
JT2K, man, I was ready for it.
JT2K. Woody Jack, I'm not ready to say that, just call it and say it this year, but he's definitely going to be a very productive back going into this season as long as he's on the field, and I expect him to be on the field. So Jonathan Taylor is my number 4 running back going into the season, man. Just too much talent. Was my number 1 guy coming out when he got drafted. And yeah, man, he's my number 4 guy going into this 2023 season.
I got you there. Man, I died Brother Red, man. He edited and brought his list back, man. 10 Mixon, 9 Eckler, 8 Kenneth Walker III, 7 Jonathan Taylor, 6 Saquon, 5 Josh Jacobs, 4 Henry, 3 C-Mac, 2 Nick Chubb, and number 1 Bijan Robinson. Said once in a generation. I don't know. That's tough. Bijan's not once in a generation because the last guy they said was once in a generation is Saquon, and Saquon's still here. So it can't, unless he's 2 in a generation. You know what I'm saying? So we use that term too much. You know what I mean? A generation got to get, man, listen, look. From now on, generation got to be 10 years, man. It's got to be one of these guys in 10 years. Let's do that because we can't have Bijan be once in a generation 6 years into the once in a generation talent of Saquon Barkley. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I would say. But
well, we'll see what he does to produce. I guess we'll see.
Hold on, he came back, man. He said, like All Day and Barry. Oh, he's saying a combination of Adrian All Day Peterson and Barry Sanders. Robinson is must see TV. Young man makes moves in the hole like Barry. That jump cut is Barry-esque. Man, I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you like this,
that's a very big compliment, man. God,
I'm gonna tell you like this, Brother Red. I want to see it. I just want to see him play. I'm always a fan of bold predictions. This is definitely a bold prediction, and I'm all with you, Brother Red. I want to see it happen, man. He got to show me though. I ain't putting him there just off the strength. I think he definitely is a talented guy. If you see a little bit more than me, hey man, that's so big. I want to see him get busy. But hey, I'm a fan of bold predictions. That's all I'm gonna say about that one.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna say a combination of all day and Barry. I don't know if I want to go that far, but I do like a lot of the things and agree with a lot of things he said. But man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can go that far. Like I don't think he's. I think a comparison that was made to his game. I don't know if I was the first person to say this or if somebody else said it or whatnot, but he reminded me of more so of LaDainian Tomlinson, but I don't think he has the top end speed that LT had. But honestly, he may be a little shiftier. LT, who had great agility, but he really was more of a guy. He did want to hit the hole, and then in the open field or on that second level, he can give anybody the business. So I do think Robinson does have a little more shiftiness, but I think his size and kind of his skill set, it puts me in the mind of like a slightly less, or like a slightly slower LaDainian Tomlinson is maybe where I go. And I mean that to be a huge compliment because LT is definitely one of the GOATs, man. But yeah, I ain't gonna put him in there with AP, man. That combination of, I say it all the time, that is the best pure built combination of size, speed, power, and agility we've seen across any running back to play this game, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah, that's y'all know how I feel about Adrian Peterson, man. Y'all know what's going on. But that's a bold statement there, Brother Red, for sure.
Hey, I like the bold predictions, man. But let me go ahead and jump into my number 3, Willie Jack. And here is where I got the best in the business, man. That's where I got the best in the business. Saquon, you know what I mean, coming at my number 3 spot, you know what I'm saying, going into this 2023 season. Okay? Yeah, y'all know how I'm rocking with Saquon. Y'all know all that, man. If y'all been paying attention to your boy, you know what it is when it comes to that. Okay, first and foremost, do it all back, man. No weaknesses in this game. Can run with quickness, elusiveness. He can run with power. He can catch and run routes out of the backfield with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, he's a huge part, a very, very huge part. I hope Brian Daboll and the owner of the Giants are listening to me right now. He's a huge part in where y'all got last year, man. A huge part in which I did last year, man. So I hope y'all, figure it out and come up with a contract and pay the man. But the question for Barkley this year, man, is the biggest question. I think there's 2 questions. The biggest question right now is, like you said, Willie Jack, are they going to come up? Are they going to pay him? You know what I mean? Are they going to figure out a contract situation? And if they don't, is he going to sign that franchise tender? You know what I mean? Because, the way I'm feeling right now, I don't know, Willie Jack. I feel exactly like you, dog. And that's what worries me.
Dog. I think he may put his foot down and sit a little bit. Like I don't know if it'll go. I don't know if the Giants will let it get that far before maybe doing some type of deal. But I don't know, man. The way Saquon's, I think he came back with some vinegar in his system last season, man. We're hearing all the doubters, and then now to come out and produce. I just don't know if he's I don't know how willing he is, man, to just take what they give him and show up.
Absolutely. And I'm with you, Willie Jack. I don't know. That scares me. I don't know if you ever, been in jeopardy of you losing your favorite player, you know what I'm saying, out for the season, you know what I'm saying, because of whatever reason. That's how I'm feeling right now.
I went through it, bro. I went through it, man. Yeah, for sure.
You did what you did. And it wasn't fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun. So
and you really know what, bro? And I was on the side of Le'Veon, man. I was like, look, man, if you don't feel good about the bag, don't show up, man. I want the players to get paid, even the guy on my team, man. So, hey, I don't know how you feel about Saquon, man, but hey, man, when Le'Veon held out, man, I said, hey, do your thing, bro, get paid, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I'm with Saquon too, man. I'm with Saquon too. And you know why? I got faith that no matter where he goes, he's gonna be Saquon. He's gonna be good. You know what I mean? No matter where he goes, he's gonna be good. Now, the chance you taking is, even if you're good or not, if you're on a bad team, they might run you in the dirt and then that's it. And then your career is over. And instead of lasting 8 more years in the league, it's only 5. It's only 4. You know what I'm saying? So that's the chance you take. But hey, man, if you feel like you're worth it, you feel like, you want that bag, go get your bag. But that's the main thing with him, man. And those were the biggest questions. He's got the talent. You know what I mean? We talked about that already. There's only 2 other backs in NFL history, dog, that have gotten 2,000 yards from scrimmage their rookie year. Edgerrin James and Eric Dickerson, Hall of Fame guys. He has the talent. The big question mark for him was just the injury. I mean, the injury. He got hurt, in which the injury that he had, it really took 2 years. It feels like he's just been banged up the whole time, but it just an injury that took 2 years to fully heal. Last year, he fully healed, coming back on the season. He had the production again, and he showed that the back he's fully capable of. So the biggest thing for him this year, man, are they gonna get him that contract? Are they gonna find a way to get him back on that field? Is he gonna sign? I don't know. I don't feel too good about it. We got 12 days, Willie Jack, to find out. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they get him signed within those 12 days and they get him on the field and get him back with the team. But yeah, Saquon Barkley, man, very talented guy. He's my number 3 back on this list.
No, I got you. And I expected he was gonna be pretty high on your list. You know what I mean? So I could have expected that. I thought there was a chance you could have even went a little higher, but I was like, nah, surely, man, some sense will kick in, man. So I'm glad it did a little bit. You tempered it down just a little bit. I'll go ahead, man.
It's for a few different reasons. But Brother Man came in. Brother Red came in with 2 comments. Okay, the first one, he got the Giants doing, man, Saquon dirty, putting smear campaign on him. You know what I mean? Then he came in and said Danny Dimes got his deal because he had Saquon to lean on. Barkley was basically the Giants' only real offensive threat, and that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I was saying. He was really their only offensive threat. Like Willie Jack, I think me and you went throughout the entire season trying to figure out who their receivers were.
Man, that's a fact. That's a fact. But hold on, man. But I mean, I was gonna say something, troll a little bit, but yeah, I'll let y'all.
I know you was. I know you like trolling when it comes to Saquon.
I'm gonna let y'all live, man. I want Saquon to get paid too, so I'm gonna let y'all have it right now, man. I got you.
All right. Well, Willie Jack, come on with your 3 then, dog. Come on with your 3.
Okay. My 3, man, and you know what? Even right now, I'm debating. Like, man, I was gonna go a little. No, okay. Number 3 for your dog. This is where
you scared.
I am, bro.
Do it, dog. What you do, man? It's what you
no. Yeah, I'm gonna go safe. I'm gonna go safe. Right now, man. Number 3. I'm gonna go ahead and go Jonathan Taylor, number 3. And so,
Jonathan Taylor, okay.
Yeah, and a big part of that is for one, I'm assuming that Anthony Richardson starts day 1, and he should. I have no idea. I don't see any reason any rhyme or reason at all that Gardner Minshew starts day 1. You bring in the coach that you do from Philly to institute that offense, and then you draft the guy who's the best suited guy to run that offense. Period. We've seen Gardner Minshew in that offense, and while it was viable to a certain extent, it wasn't the ideal way they want to run that offense. And so he was able to put up yards and he was able to put up some yards and put up some points in 2 losing efforts. Now, I'm not putting both the losses on him per se, but that offense, the way Gardner Minshew ran that offense wasn't the way that offense is ideally meant to be ran. That offense needs a viable, legitimate threat at the quarterback position to be just as dangerous with the ball in his hands running as the guy he may hand it to. And so I'm anticipating Anthony Richardson starts. And then if nothing else, we've seen this time and time again. We've seen it from Lamar Jackson. We've seen it from Cam Newton. We've seen it from a plethora of guys. Justin Fields, that's what I was looking for. We've seen it for Justin Fields. Justin Fields was able to have the Bears look like a top 10, top 5 rushing attack team throwing 85 yards a game. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the threat of that run action, given or keeping it, him being dangerous. Now, the difference in what I'm imagining with Justin Taylor and Anthony Richardson versus Justin Fields and whoever those guys are, is that the guy he hands the ball with is just as or more dangerous with the ball in his hand. And so it's a legitimate guy that can actually take that handoff. And now, as opposed to Justin Fields maybe having 22 attempts because the guys he's handed the ball with can't do nothing with it, I think Jonathan Taylor gets those handoffs and carries, and he looks more closer to imagine the production we've seen from Alfred Morris when he was with RG3, right? But now imagine if Alfred Morris was a real dude. You feel me? Imagine if RG3 was handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor as opposed to Alfred Morris. Now, Alfred Morris led the league in rushing 2 years and had back-to-back 1,600-yard years, being a guy that runs 4 yards in a cloud of dust. But the threat and the run action from RG3 there you go. He's eating off that plate, and he's a 1,600-yard back, and then quickly soon thereafter falls off the face of the NFL planet. Jonathan Taylor ain't gonna have that problem because he's already a guy, and now we bring this in, which can only help his production, in my opinion. Also, Quentin Nelson, once in a generation guard who looked like a He-Man behemoth his rookie year, and then I don't know where he's been the last 2 years. And so there was some injury and some knickknacks that second year for sure. This last year he just didn't play good ball, and that team and that offense struggled because they just couldn't block anybody in the run or the passing game. And so that's another thing I'm anticipating that this new scheme is going to do as well, because this style of scheme makes it easier on all the way around. And so I think we get a return to form to Jonathan Taylor. Man, I really liked Jonathan Taylor when he was coming in. I'm not going to lie. I think he might have been my number 2 back. I can't remember. Now, don't let me get the line last year. No, he came in with J.K. Dobbins, didn't he?
Yeah. It was Jonathan Taylor, J.K. and DeAndre
Dobbins,
Swift.
Yeah. And honestly,
and
I think – and who? And Edwards-Helaire was never on my radar like that, or like I wasn't, into his game like that. I think I gave the edge to Dobbins over Taylor because Taylor had a big fumbling problem at Wisconsin, was the thing for me. And then J.K. Dobbins had the production, and he looked damn good and explosive at Ohio State, and he secured the ball. So I think when I ranked him, I had Dobbins and then Taylor, but was still a big fan. And then that first year from JT, he rose to 1,800. Chop just told y'all, man, I was looking at JT 2K that second year, and then, like I said, that things just implode for that team as a whole. But I said it, I think his rookie year, and I'm going to say it again now because I still hold true to this. Jonathan Taylor is the runner we thought we were getting for Saquon Barkley. Jonathan Taylor's size, that size, that build, that speed, that explosion, the way he runs the ball, as productive as he is running the ball, that's the player that we thought we were going to get for Saquon. Now, Saquon has the edge in catching the ball, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your running back. Do the first thing first. Let me hand you the ball, run and make something happen. The way he looks as a runner is what we thought we were going to get for Saquon Barkley, but due to injury and a lot of other things, we've never seen that. Not from that first year of JT is what I'm talking about. But like I said, with this new offense, with the threat of now Anthony Richardson as well, keeping that backside honest. Like I said, go ahead and chase JT if you want to, and let Anthony Richardson get out the back for 80 yards on you. And so I think it makes it all. I think like I said, we get a return to form from Jonathan Taylor, and I look for him to be somewhere. Around 1,500 yards or so, man. Kind of like we were talking about the production we saw from Derrick Henry.
Gotcha. And a couple things in regards to that, Willie Jack. I'm not mad at your spot because I definitely think he's a talented guy, but I'll say this. In terms of Anthony Richardson and him becoming a starter, or he should be, you saying he should be a starter, I'm not 100% sold on it. And the reason why is because I think he, depending on how he looks, man, I think he could be a guy that's very, very raw and a guy that where he could be dangerously close. Now we'll see how he looks in training camp and stuff, but he could be dangerously close to being a player where, all right, if we put him in too early, we can damage him versus helping him grow. You know what I'm saying? The object, we know he's not going to come in and be top notch, right away in terms of like at his peak. I think he's still going to have room. Quarterback is that position. It's going to take a few years for you to get at your peak at QB. It's just the name of the game when it comes to that position. But I think he's dangerously close to being the guy where it's like, okay, if we play him right now, we could damage him versus letting him sit for a little bit, before we actually throw him in there. Some guys, you throw him in the fire, they're just going to burn.
Well, the reason I disagree with that is because he's not going to be asked to come in and be Joe Burrow. And so if he's asked to come into an offense where he needs to be Joe Burrow, he needs to be a field general that can dissect and do a lot of things.
I understand that.
But that's what I'm saying. But when the way that offense is set up for him to thrive on his athleticism first, his passing ability second. That's the way that offense is set up. That's the reason we even seen Jalen Hurts get to where he is now. The passing may come or it may not. But we've seen Jalen Hurts be able to even be viable under center because of the threat of his own legs and what he could do to around him, even while his ability to run and boost that run game allowed the team to give him time to develop as a passer. And so coming with the coach coming from the offensive side in Philadelphia, he's already seen that movie before anyway. So he knows we can be viable, we can have success still while we can have viable success while he takes his passing lumps, because this offense is geared that we can win games on his legs alone. And then another thing I say about that as well is I don't see the benefit of I don't think him sitting is a beneficial, because Gardner Minshew, I don't see what he's going to learn or take from the game of Gardner Minshew in a studious capacity that he's going to be able to learn and make him a better player. Because for one, Gardner Minshew, like I say, he's not. It's a different offense if Gardner Minshew's running it. So if he's not even getting those mental reps that he's going to need to make it complementable to his own game. And so I think for a guy like him with that offense,
so it's definitely going to be some things he can take. You're talking about a what? 4-5 year pro in the league. It's definitely gonna be some things that he can take as a rookie. There's gonna be things he can take just naturally. But I'm talking. This is more about Anthony Richardson. And if you're ready, like this is gonna be this is a different level. It's gonna be pressure on you. And in certain situations, pressure can make you stronger. But also against certain people, and this is just more so of a personality thing. Pressure can break you. And what you don't want is the pressure to break him. You want the pressure to make him stronger, make him better as a player. I understand the offense.
No, I mean I get what you're saying, but like I just don't agree with the take then, I guess, because like I don't at all see a guy who's fragile to get his feelings, because I think that team and everybody going in knew exactly what was up with him when they took him where they took him in the top 5, and he was the guy that was always on the target for them for that offense, or at least that's what we've heard coming out of that front office. But yeah, no, I just don't see what he benefits if it's a fragile mindset because I got in and I didn't have. I mean, I just from the things I've seen or heard and about him in and around that building. It seems like he's already completely taken over the team. Everybody loves him. I mean, I just don't see the benefit maybe of having him sit. Not for that offense. Like I'm saying, like if he's drafted and it is the Bengals offense where we need a surgeon, we need precision, we need brain surgery every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Then I think that holds more weight or more water. But I think for this specific circumstance, I think it would be of benefit to let him get in and rock. And then hold on real quick, man. My dog Tom is in the building. What's up, man? He said the Jalen Hurts is totally different. He says that they were trying to get rid of Hurts before he developed. Now, that's not true, bro, because the reason that Doug Peterson is the coach in Jacksonville and not Philly now is because Doug Peterson was the guy who wanted Jalen Hurts, brought him in, and then even made packages for him, and it drove a wedge between him and Carson Wentz. And so Carson Wentz already had to deal with the Nick Foles issue. Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl, being the Super Bowl MVP, in what could have been Carson Wentz MVP season. And so they get through that. I'm sure that's still a soft spot, but they get through that. And then he drafts Jalen Hurts. And so he wanted Jalen Hurts. Doug Peterson wanted Jalen Hurts. And that was the thing there. So, and then the next team who came in, Carson Wentz quickly shown that, yeah, he just not the guy at all. All right, excuse me then, Brother Red. 861. I thought Jonathan Taylor ran or was it his second year then? What year did he go for 1,800 yards?
His second year.
Okay, excuse me. I said his rookie year then. I misspoke then, Brother Red. That's my fault. But yeah, but the 1,800 yard year, I guess that should have been his second year. He blew out his knee and took 2 years to get right to form.
Oh man,
well, I don't know. I'm talking about his second year, man. I never. Well, I'm just not as high on Saquon as Chop for sure, and as some of these other guys as well. Because I see too many boomer bust runs. I see too many 2-yard, 3-yard losses. And then I get the 40-yard pop to balance out the stat sheet now. But then also I feel like there's too many games as well where he's just not an issue. And so we can make the excuses. I'm not going to say excuses, but we can make the call and say, well, they took the ball out of his hands, etc. But there's times where I feel that he hasn't done it for me in the way I want it. That Jonathan Taylor we seen that second year that led those Colts with Carson Wentz, mind you, to which should have been a playoff team until Carson Wentz completely shit the bed the last game of the season against the worst team in the league that year in the Houston Texans, and they get themselves spanked and kicked out and missed the playoffs. That Jonathan Taylor, Saquon hasn't showed me that. Saquon hasn't showed me we're not going to do nothing but give you the ball 30 times and 1,800 yards later you're going to take us to the playoffs, which they should have went. Saquon ain't showed me that.
Saquon just took him to the playoffs. What you talking about?
Saquon didn't take nobody nowhere. Saquon watched Danny Dimes take it to the playoffs. And then Saquon just watched Danny Dimes take it to the playoffs. His usage declined the longer they went into the season, bro. So Saquon didn't take nobody nowhere.
You got
That's
it.
what the numbers.
You got it.
That's what it tells me. His usage declined the longer the season went, so he didn't take him nowhere.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Danny Dimes did. You're right. Danny Dimes
$40 million later. Hey.
Yeah, you keep bringing up that $40 million, you know what's going on. When you will keep bringing up that $40 million. Come on, man. Let's keep on pushing because I know we'll be in it all night. Give me your number two, man.
It's my number two. Number two, man. Number two is where I got, man, my longtime dog, man. If you need somebody to run the ball in this league, it gets no better. That is Sir Nicholas Chubb himself, the great beast of a back from the Cleveland Browns. I'm super excited to see what he does this year, being without having to, like I said, man, to share his time with Kareem Hunt. So now he's full-fledged, the guy. I mean, well, and honestly, man, I don't know how that team's going to do. That team is a sleeper playoff team and contention for the division team by a lot of like TV pundits. People are way higher on the Browns than I am, and I don't know. And I think you were a little higher on them than myself as well. But all told, man, Nick Chubb is the most gifted pure runner in this league. I felt that way for probably the last 5 years, or yeah, I want to say about 5 years. I think he's been in the league for about 6-7 years now, so I can say that. No. However long he's been in the league. For a while now, he's been, I think, the best just pure runner in this league, and I don't think this changes. The only reason he's not number one, man, is because he is more so of a, and it is more so of a, I don't want to say one-trick pony, but he hasn't shown enough in the passing game to this point, and that necessarily for me, depending on your offensive scheme and what you still do and how you still produce and lead the team, that can vary in importance. So from a guy like Nick Chubb, from a guy like Adrian Peterson, I don't give a damn I don't want you to get 70 catches, or I don't need you to get 70 catches because I know what you do when I hand you the ball 30 times if I need you to. Don't matter if it's 9 guys in the box. I know if I give you the ball, man, we're going somewhere. And so Nick Chubb is that type of guy for me, supremely talented. And like I said, man, I can't wait to see what type of numbers of production we get with him getting an even larger share of his own carries in his own backfield now that Kareem Hunt's no longer with the team.
Absolutely, with the Jack, and I'm with you there, man. I'm with you there. I actually also have Nick Chubb at my number 2 spot, and I was also tempted to put him at my number 1 spot. And
I know, me too, man. I wanted to, but yeah.
I like to see when I watch running backs. I like to see not only their running style. I like to see a lot of versatility in everything that they do. You know, and Nick Chubb just about takes me there. You know what I'm saying? And even when we talk about the minimal carries that he's had since he's been in the season, and you just mentioned this, Willie Jack, we say he could be the best back in the league. First and foremost, he's the best runner for sure. You know what I mean? I think that's without question, he's the best runner. And there's not a back in the league, in my opinion, that breaks tackles at a higher rate than him, or breaks tackles in a better. You know what I'm saying? The balance that he runs with, you know, off of contact, his strength. And this crazy part is a lot of people feel like, oh man, Nick Chubb is a straight power runner. And you actually watch him, he actually is a better elusive or and makes a lot better cuts than you would think that he would make. You know what I'm saying? When he's running, he's not usually looking to run people over. That's not what he does. You bounce off of him, and it looks like he's just running through people, but people try to tackle him from the legs on the side, whatever, and no matter where they hitting Nick Chubb at, they're just bouncing off. That's the type of running he's just so strong, such great contact balance, and then he has the ability to run away from anybody. And you see it time and time again where he's running on these long runs and nobody can catch him. Man, who is this big 5'10", 5'11", 230-pound back that's outrunning everybody? You know what I'm saying? That nobody can catch from behind. Like, that's the type of runner that Nick Chubb is. Now, you take Kareem Hunt out of that mix. Now, Willie J, I don't know if you remember me saying this. I think I said this a couple years ago. I said that Nick Chubb is capable of catching the ball out of the backfield. Now, I think he'll get more of that opportunity. So we'll see a little bit more of that. Now, I'm not saying he's going to come in and going to be, you know, Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara or anything. No, he's not going to be that. But your running backs, and just about every 3-down running back pretty much did this. You know, when you talk about old school, when you mention like the APs and, you know, saying those type of guys, AP, he caught the ball in the backfield. He can catch a swing pass. He can catch a out route. He can catch, you know what I'm saying, those just simple things, you know what I'm saying, that you will ask running or any running back to do. Nick Chubb can do those things. But the difference is, unlike some of those other guys, when Nick Chubb gets it, he's gonna bounce off a few different tackles. You put him in space, it might be lights out. You catch him in some space. So yeah, he can get you about 30, 40 catches a year, you know what I'm saying, for about 300 to 400 yards. You know what I'm saying? I think he can do that. So that's what I'm looking at for Nick Chubb, you know, in this season, going into the 2023 season. And if he continues to run the ball the way that he does and average over 5 yards a carry, we might be looking at another 1,800, 1,900 yard back, you know what I'm saying, for the Cleveland Browns, especially with that solid offensive line. So Willie Jack, that's where I'm at with that, man, in terms of Nick Chubb, man, being a guy that can come into this 2023 season and be amongst the top two guys and get his first team All-Pro officially. That's what I see from Nick Chubb going into this season, man.
No, for sure. And then, Brother Red's got some comments here. Man, said he's Chubb's third favorite running back behind Todd Gurley and Garrison Hurst. And man, what's crazy is that, man, that Georgia running back room at the time, because he was there with Todd Gurley. He was a freshman that Todd Gurley's last year, and Todd Gurley, now I can't even think of the other guy's name because Todd Gurley wasn't even the initial starter on that team either. And so it was Knowshon Moreno, and then it was this other running back who I can't think of his name. Then Todd Gurley took over that job, and then Nick Chubb came in as the freshman. I think the last year with Todd Gurley and this other guy. He also came to the league, but he never really hit. But yeah, no, that was a crazy backfield there. From his time at Georgia, I would if we're just talking about their time at Georgia, I would probably give the edge to Gurley over Chubb. But yeah, no, man, in the league for sure, man. I think Chubb's been definitely an underappreciated back for sure, as he just said in there.
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely.
All right.
So and I guess it moves us to the number one, man, which
right.
I feel like both of us probably have the same number one. You know,
the best in the business. It's time to announce the best in the business.
Not quite.
I got you.
He has the best offensive mind in the business. I would say that.
Don't worry about it, man. You should have put Chop in Willie. You know what's going on, man. Best in the business. What
man. Say? I got you, Chopping Willie. I got you,
man. Best in the business, man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave a little bit left on the bone for you, Willie Jack. I'll jump into Christian McCaffrey first. First and foremost, man, we know what Christian McCaffrey brings to the table, man. A back that's fully capable of getting you 100 on the ground and 100 receiving in the air, you know, each and every week. You know what I'm saying? He's fully capable of that. This is 1,000 and 1,000 back. You know what I'm saying? They could consistently do that. Now, the only thing that's been stopping him, I feel like, is his injury history. You know what I'm saying? And the Carolina Panthers, they use him a lot, you know, and when he went over to San Francisco, he picked up where he left off. They started to use him a lot. And he's one of those backs, man, where you can just use him in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? You can line him up in anywhere on the field. You know what I'm saying? As far as tailback, you want to line him out there in slot. I've seen him a couple plays out there outside wide, you know what I mean, at the X position, you know what I'm saying, playing receiver for this team. And that just goes well. Like, that just goes well with, it pairs beautifully with a guy like Shanahan, man, who loves those type of guys. We seen what Deebo Samuel does, you know what I'm saying, when he's put in all those different positions. And me and Willie Jack talk about all the time, like it's hard to put Deebo in like our top receiver conversation because it's like, dang, he's not like the traditional receiver. Like, he's not out there breaking guys off one-on-one with routes and stuff like that, but he gets off. He had a 1,500-yard receiving season. But you can line him up in the backfield and he'll go rush for a buck on you. You know what I'm saying? And run between the tackles as well. You know what I'm saying? Deebo Samuel can do so much. He's just another weapon. And then Christian McCaffrey coming to the team is also another weapon. So it's like this team is just full of offensive weapons. You know what I'm saying? I think the one true receiver that they have, I don't want to be disrespectful to some of the other receivers, but like it's Brandon Ayuk though. Brandon Ayuk is that true receiver who lines up a receiver each and every play. But they can do so much with Deebo and Christian McCaffrey, and you know the way that they do things in this offense, and how good Kyle Shanahan is, and the talent that they have around them. I expect Christian McCaffrey to have another All-Pro season, man. You know, so everything is just fits so perfect, you know, for Christian McCaffrey, and it's going to continue to go well for him. And Christian McCaffrey is going to have, you know, another one of those seasons. But this year we're gonna get to see a full season of it. Last year we only got 11 games. This year, we're getting a full 17. You know You know what I'm saying? As long as he stays healthy, we're getting a full 17, and Christian McCaffrey is gonna ball out, man. So that's why I got C-Mac in my number one spot.
Yeah, man, you went a long way around. Just you went a long way to say, man, when it comes to running back, man, in the NFL, it gets no better than than C-Mac, man, BITB, best in the business, Christian McCaffrey, man. Running the ball, catching the ball. I tried to tell y'all the boy could pass. When they went down to their fourth string quarterback, man, they should have just let C-Mac get behind center, man. They probably had a better chance in that playoff game against the Eagles. And so, but yeah, man, when I see this guy, man, it just like you said, I think Christian McCaffrey and Le'Veon. And I'm talking about two backs. And I know everybody likes to say backs that can line up at receiver legitimately. I'm talking about line up. Well, I don't know if I've seen C-Mac line up outside like I've seen Le'Veon line up outside with a DB and go get it and go that way. But yeah, outside of Le'Veon Bell, man, this is the back I feel most comfortable. If he had to transition full-time to slot receiver, he's a 90 catch back, or he's a 90 catch receiver. He's a 90 catch at 1,200 yards slot receiver if we need him to do that. And so, but yeah, man, we saw how he elevated that offense when he got to the Niners, of course. And then, man, I've sung enough of his roses, man. Y'all should know what's going on with me and C-Mac, man. But for my money, man, the best in the business. If I need a running back to catch the ball at the backfield, it gets no better than C-Mac. If I need a running back to go line up and play slot for me for a game or half a game or whatever, it gets no better. If I need a running back, I need to hand the ball to 20, 25 times. I'll take that as well. And I saw a lot of the power that a lot of people like to complain about or try to knock about him. I saw a lot of that.
Go ahead and talk about me, Willie Jack. You know I'm the one that say
too, man. Chop likes to pull one play over a 7-year career and make that the story of his whole career. One play, because then if that play happened in Carolina 4 years ago now, but what about what we just seen? What have you done for me lately? What about what we just seen him do in the Eagles, running through tackles like he's somebody, like he's Nick Chubb's little brother, then taking it 40 more yards to the house. You know what I'm saying? So he's shown that as well. And so, but yeah, man, all around, man, I think he's the premier all around back in this league. And for my money, man, he's been there for a few years now. So yeah, man, it gets no better at the position for my money, man. Christian McCaffrey, all around back, the best in the business.
Yeah, I got you, Willie Jack. Yeah, he is one of the best all around backs in this league, man. He ain't running with no power, Willie Jack. You know that, dog.
No, I'm not saying he's a power back, but I'm saying he has enough power to be successful, bro. Obviously, we've seen him run through tackles.
Yeah, no, he does. He definitely does. He got enough power to be successful.
It's not a knock to say, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't want to knock him and just say he's getting blown over if a, you know what I'm saying, somebody rubs his shoulder, now he's knocked over. Like, nah, y'all going too far, man.
That never was my point. That never was my point, Willie Jack. That wasn't my point. You misconstruing what I was saying. That wasn't my point.
Yeah.
If you want to know my point, you can holler at me. But anyway, that's all the 10. That's the 10 guys. That's the top 10 guys and your top running backs going into the 2023 season. Willie Jack, we got to do a recap really quick, man. Run through your list real quick. Give me your 1 through 10. Let me know who your guys was.
Oh, I believe I got C-Mac 1, Nick Chubb 2, Jonathan Taylor 3, 4, I think I went King Henry. 5, Najee Harris. 6, Bijan Robinson. 7, I went Dalvin Cook. 8, Saquon Barkley. 9, Tony Pollard. And 10, Josh Jacobs.
Gotcha. My number 1, man, I had C-Mac as well. Then I went Nick Chubb at number 2. Number 3 was Saquon Barkley. 4, Jonathan Taylor. 5, Derrick Henry. 6, Bijan Robinson. Same as you, Willie Jack. 7, Najee Harris. 8, Dalvin Cook. 9, Josh Jacobs, and 10, I had J.K. Dobbins, man. Talk about a little bit of some of your honorable mentions, Willie Jack. To me, I had a few guys, man, that could have been listed, you know, and if they would have made the top 10, I think it could have been worth it. But hey, man, talk to me about your honorable mention guys, man. Do you have any guys that barely mixed it or was in the mix, or talk to me about that?
Yeah, man. And honestly, I wanted so bad to have Breece Hall on my list. And honestly, bro, I've got drafts of my list where Breece Hall is in the top 5. I got drafts on my list where I had Breece Hall as high as 3 because I'm taking into account the impact of Aaron Rodgers for one thing, because I think now we've got to keep defenses honest. And then I'm also looking at production he had before injury without A-Rod, with Mike Williams and Mike White and Zach Wilson at quarterback, and this is a guy that averaged almost 6 yards a carry over 6 games before he blows his knee out. And that's without a viable, legitimate passing threat to keep the defenses honest. And now we've got A.A. Ryan throwing to the young gun Garrett Wilson now that's going to force those boxes to stay honest. And then assuming he comes back healthy, man, I think this is a guy who, like I said, assuming he comes back healthy, even with the questions on that Jets offensive line, I still think he can have a monster year because he was on pace to have one, like I said, even with the offensive cast he had around him last year. Breece Hall would be probably the guy who falls in at 11. Kenneth Walker is another guy I like. They came in the class, they had Kenneth Walker above Breece Hall in my preseason draft rankings, but Kenneth Walker was another guy I looked at. My dog Tom is in the building, man. Damian Pierce, he's a guy as well that I took a peek at, but I was telling Tom, I think he's probably closer to top 15 than top 10 for me, but he's definitely a guy I want to see what he does. I want to see what he does this year. Like I said, with the rookie coming over with D'Amico Ryans bringing that 49ers offensive scheme, that zone run scheme over, or how they run it in San Francisco. So he was a guy in contention as well. And man, who's one more guy I wanted to mention? You know what, man? That's enough of them. That's enough of them guys right there, man. So Breece Hall would have definitely been my guy that could have had a spot in this list. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, and probably Damian Pierce. Oh no, and Travis Etienne as well. Also Travis Etienne. I think our dog, man, BP for No Balls No Glory. I think he had Etienne in his list. I think I heard, and so Etienne was another guy, man. I was really close to having him right there in that 9-10 mix as well.
Gotcha. And Willie Jack, I'm just gonna say this, man. Free the running backs. You know what I'm saying? Free the running backs because it's a lot of talented guys in here. And for me, man, I think it's a lot of these guys that are really close, are really right there and could be in that mix, man. We talked about the Austin Ekeler, man. He didn't make a top 10 list, but the guy had 18 touchdowns last year. Breece Hall was my number 11 spot too, Willie Jack. And really, I think he could be a top 5 back. And he was top 5 before he actually got injured, to me, in my opinion, in the league last year.
But for sure. No, at the time he got hurt, bro. He was probably, he was a top
absolutely
3 back in the league.
He was up there. So for me, man, it's just coming off the ACL injury. I've seen it too many times, and I try to root for these guys, but it's usually the second year after the ACL injury where they come back. So that's why he barely missed. Like you mentioned, Kenneth Walker. I got to throw TP up there, man, too. TP got some love from me. He was right there in that mix. Didn't quite put him on there because I got some other guys on which I felt like, hey, they coming up. And then, like, it's just so much other talent out there. Javonte Williams is coming off of a knee injury. You know what I'm saying? Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones. Somebody put that in the chat. Aaron Jones is a talented back. And then I still like Joe Mixon. You know, as much as you mentioned, like he didn't really have consideration. Yeah, he didn't really have much consideration for like the legit top 10 spot. But he for sure was, you know, banging on the door for that top 15 spot. And the reason why is because he didn't get as many carries this past season. I think it did have a lot to do with the pass and attack. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I felt that way is because you see how things changed. You know, in Buffalo when they started running the ball a lot. You know, it was right behind Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon had my 2 or 3 touchdowns that game, ran for over maybe about like $150. Like he showed what he was fully capable of. You know, I still think he's, you know, a solid guy in this league, man. So I just want to throw them guys some love, man. I just want to give running backs love in general. You know what I'm saying? Free the backs, man. Pay these boys, man. Pay these boys. Believe it or not, these guys, in my opinion, have a lot to do with the impact of games when it comes to wins at the end of the day, man. I think Willie Jack can tell you each and every. I think he can vouch for if they still would have had Le'Veon Bell on the Steelers, if they went ahead and just paid him, Le'Veon Bell would have had a great impact on that team's offense. He already was.
Le'Veon Bell was on track to give himself real deal Hall of Fame consideration on the path he was going. And the reason I can say that is because he was with us for 4 years. He was 3-time All-Pro. And he was definitively the best, I think, combination back as far as running and receiving. And I'm talking about legitimate receiving. He's lined up outside on the sideline. He's lined up in the play I always think about specifically. Chuck Clark, the starting safety for the Ravens at the time. Le'Veon is lined up as our wide receiver. So he's lined up. He's lined up wide on the right. I can't remember who was inside of him, but somebody's inside of him at slot, a true slot receiver. And on the backside, I think we had AB still out there at X. Le'Veon for it had to be Juju inside then. Le'Veon spent in 3 of those years, he was our second string receiver. He was our number 2 receiver in that time frame, and I'm talking about lining him up wide like this and running routes on starting DBs. They didn't move a linebacker out there on him. No, safety was down. He's head up with a DB now. You know what I'm saying? Or he's in the slot, and now the nickel's on him, and he's getting busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, legitimately, that style of threat, man. And so what could have been, man, from my Steelers if we could have held that thing together.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying, Willie Jack. I know you feel it, man. I know he had a great impact on their team, matchups, all different types of things, man. So as much as people like to say the league is changing, it's more of a passing league, you still need running backs. And to be successful in this league, you have to be able to run the ball. I don't care what anybody talking about. You got to be able to run the ball, man. So I'm leaving it there, Willie Jack. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel.
And here's a question for you as well, man, because going back to Aaron Jones, my fault, I don't know if we ever really touched on it. I don't know why Aaron Jones something about, he's talented. He is a good all-around back. He's a capable receiver. He's a solid runner as well. But something about Aaron Jones just doesn't tickle my fancy, man. I don't know what it is.
There you go, y'all. There you go with the fancy.
No, I don't know, for whatever reason, man. Like, I just don't know why Aaron Jones doesn't do it for me. But it's definitely not a lack of talent or ability. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know why Aaron Jones just doesn't do it for me, man. I don't know what it is.
I get it. He sounds bad. Hey, get time out the chat, bro. Get
him
out the chat.
What about our dog? Maurice Cool for the Eagle? Hey, man. Hey, man. Hey, it could have been something, man. You know what I'm saying? It didn't end up working out like I'm sure he wanted it to, but. Yeah, man, he was a super athletic dude, man, back in the day. Shout out to my dog.
6'2", 230-pound Reggie Bush.
Yeah, man. Boy was an athlete for sure, bro. I mean, it just didn't come together like we would have wanted it to, but yeah, nah, man. He had the size and the size profile for sure, man. And he was a hell of an athlete too, as well, man. Shout out to Cone, man. For
Absolutely. Sure. Shout out to Cone, man. Shout out to Cone. But Willie Jack, that's it. That's all, man. That's it. That's all. We saw we conquered. Hey, even though you didn't quite make it for the first half of the show,
man, I know, man.
You came through for the home stretch. You know what I'm saying? We was in the first half. We was playing. You was dealing with some issues. You was trying to get your contact in. I think that's what it was. Your contact wouldn't get in. You know, so you waiting in the game. Before we got you in the game, you know what I'm saying? I had to hold it down, you know what I'm saying, get everything together. But you came in, you brought it home. We came away with the W tonight, man. Willie Jack, I appreciate you. So with us getting the W tonight, man, you need to let us know who getting the game ball, Willie Jack.
Man, I'm gonna get a game ball, man. You know what, man? And we'll see. I'm a little biased now. I've been in the show the second half, man, but the second half of the show, man, definitely. I want to shout out our dog, man, for no vote to the podcast. Our own Joseph Kenny, man, our own brother Red, man. I get him the game ball, man. Definitely over the second half of the show since I tapped in, man, for sure. So shout out to my dog.
Yeah, and I get it. And if we're gonna give a game ball for the first half is gonna go to our dog B, man. From No Balls, No Glory, man.
Okay,
shout out to you, B. You get the game ball for the first half. Brother Red came on strong in the second half of the game, man. So hey, you get the game ball in the second half of the game, Willie Jack. But other than that, man, I think that's about it, man.
Hey, that's it. That's all, man. Y'all, that's it. That's all, man. Y'all heard my dog say, man. Hey, appreciate all the love, man. Them members was definitely in the building, man. One more time, man. Hey, Jay Wood 23 was in the building, man. No Balls, No Glory was in the building for sure, man. BP and the boy Woods as well, man. The home team was in the building, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Our dog Brother Red was in the building, man. No Balls to the podcast, and our dog Terrible Time Walker, our resident Texas fan. He was in the building for sure, man. And y'all know what's going on, man. If I forgot to say, damn. Charge it to my head, don't charge it to my heart. You know, we think about you, big dog. Y'all know we appreciate all the love and support, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Hey, man, it was an afternoon, man. I wish y'all knew what I did to get to y'all, man. I was determined to get in here and show my face and chop it up with my dog Chop, man, before the show was over, man. So glad I was able to do that, man. Appreciate y'all in the chat holding us down as always, man, for sure. And so, hey, until next week, man, Wednesdays at 7. I can't even show my wrist because I was out moving and grooving, Chop. I was out moving around.
Today, dog. That's what it was.
I was in traffic, man. I was stuck on the side of the road for about 3 hours today, y'all. It was a hard day for your boy, man. But, hey, man, y'all know what's going on. Appreciate all that love and support. We will be back, man, Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Chop, man, what's the group next week?
I was asking for the paper. Man, when you wrote it, what were we doing? It's your turn. Because you wrote it down. What do we put down? What do we put down?
Let's do edge defenders. So pass rushers, edge defenders, man. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
All right, we got that next week. Edge next week. Tune in to your boys, Chop
Yeah.
Willie. Other than that, man,
Hey, peace.